Greetings, duelists, and welcome to another video. So, we're back with Dueling Book Adventures. We're going to do one special replay today. I was going to hold back on these and not do them on a super frequent basis, especially since I didn't do that many duels after the last video. But I figured this was a very special case, because the last duel that we had was an Enneacraft mirror match. Before we go and show the match, this is the current list that I was playing for those last 5 duels. This is the Megas of Org build, if you remember. I did make some changes to it. I moved 2nd Tachyon to 2 copies due to just the nature of just drawing this card in, in multiple numbers. Another thing that we did is we kept Spell Card Chola's Soul Exchange in the main deck. We also moved Vanity's Ruler to the main deck because this card is searchable with 7th Tachyon, and this just ends a lot of people's runs. Like, if you go first and you just summon this, like, a lot of decks just can't handle this. Especially if you back it up with Dimensional Fissure. Like, this plus Fissure plus Astap Exea just feels like an Exodia board against a lot of strategies. Also, when you're going second, if you open the Soul Exchange alongside the Vanity's Ruler, this can just be a blowout for a lot of decks, because some of these better strategies, like Yummy, like they special summon on your turn, and they rely on just special summoning to just keep up on card advantage. And this also prevents your opponents from special summoning, not you special summoning. So you can just summon your Enneacraft after just summoning the Vanity's Ruler as well. I think everything else relatively the same. Somebody commented in my last video talking about Aiza Leon, because I was not playing Aiza Leon in the other version. For those who missed my response on that and are curious on my take on it, is that Aiza Leon needs a lot going for it for this card to be very relevant. It's really good when you go second, but everything has to go your way. Like, you need another big Enneacraft to threaten what your opponent has on board. You need to open your Enneacraft starter in order to your opponent to just try to respond to it, because your Enneacraft starters are pretty much the cards that your opponent are going to do something about. And you also have to make sure your opponent doesn't have multiple negation or multiple interruptions that just halts the Aiza Leon punish. Otherwise, you're just gonna get overwhelmed by what your opponent does. That's why I like cards better, like the Rasphere mode. I do think that Rasphere mode, alongside Aiza Leon and that starter, is a really good hand if you go second. But it's a very specific hand if you go second, right? So yeah, I think those are the really big changes. We moved the Dimension Shifter to the side deck. As good as this card is, even when you're going second, it is kind of awkward because you're not getting the full value out of Reverth. You're not getting the full value out of your Pendulum skills if they do get popped. You don't get the full value out of Enneacraft Release as well. If you know what matchup that you're facing that just outright loses to the Dimension Shifter, you just side it in. I also wanted to max out on Perolia, in my side deck. Not just because of the Enneacraft mirror match, but because of Vanquish Soul and K9 variants, and other decks that just don't outright just lose to full autos. I don't think Meows deserves an extra deck spot. Side deck spot. I think Banisher is just way better when you know you're facing like Draco Tail. But yeah, let's get straight to the video. So again, this is my last opponent, Ace, and as you can see, they are on the Enneacraft deck. So what happened on this duel is they went first and they immediately passed. And it's kind of strange when you see that happening, because if you already played Enneacraft, you already know that this deck is not known for OTKing real quick. If my opponent did almost establish a board, we could have activated Soul Exchange. We could have tried to get to multiple Enneacraft big monsters on the board and just pummel your opponent for like a lot of damage. Because, you know, these are big, like 3k attack, right? But they did pass turn. So we drew for turn. We drew into a Torimar. So we're going to activate Archetype, and we're going to do this like multiple times. Basically, we just want to fill the board. I don't think Izaleon was one of them. Nope, it was not. So if Izaleon would have been good, it would have meant like flipping it immediately after they activate something in reaction to our cards. The good news for us is Zerdan engine is not that good. Like Book of Eclipse, Sol and Luna, Fua is not that great. So we kind of do all the motions here. We go Org into Uk into Field Spell. We do have Tromara in hand, that's why we go for Field Spell here. Field Spell, bounce both. We activate Tromp into Alaz. We grab Alaz effect. We're going to grab Rebirth. Rebirth goes to hand. We shuffle 3, draw 3, and we drew into the Zaborg. We're going to summon Org, and we're going to Zaborg pop the Atorimar. So the reason we did this is because we can't go for game, but we can nuke 9 from our opponent's extra deck. And while also keeping the Zaborg on board. And if they try to do something for the Zaborg, we have the Astapexea. You can make the argument that Songs of the Dominators could have been played here, and that plays around both, but I digress. So we send 9. These are the 9 that we send. And then we send 9 from our opponent. And the moment I looked at my opponent's extra deck, I had to think for a good amount of time. This already told me that we were on a mirror match, because this is a very rare extra deck for anything that's not with the mirror. So we trigger Ferrigit and Garura to draw 2. They trigger Ferrigit, and they drew into release with the Ferrigit. So and now they drew into Trom. So now they can start playing the game. And I thought about stopping this Tromaria because since they didn't play last turn, there was a good chance that by popping that Tromaria, they did not have a play for next turn. But I let it play out because I want to see how far they can extend. They go for a Torimar, and they set the Astapexea, which is something I was not expecting. But they did reveal twice with a Torimar. So I just assumed that they had 2 Atorimars. They summon Izaleon, they activate Enneapolis, we activate the Meteor. So we know that they have a Torimar. My logic with the Meteor was that after the Meteor resolved, if it was negated by the Atorimar, we can use the Pegasus Arachnister to just shuffle what we assumed was the second Atorimar, but it was just one Atorimar all along. And then use the second Astero to pop the rest of the board. This is the thing about Enneacraft and what makes it a weird matchup, even when they go second. You don't know if they have multiple Atorimars, because this is pretty much like the best card. I don't like revealing a Torimar if I go second, because I'd rather my opponent just be surprised to see the Torimar whenever I flip it. But you can make the argument of just revealing the Atorimar and force your opponent to make an interaction to that Atorimar. So that's something to mention. That being said, we're going to Meteor. They negate it with Atorimar. We're going to Pegasus. And they flip the Astapexea, which already tells us that they're not on Atorimar. So they resolve the Pixea, they banish Alasdonea, we summon the Meteor, and then we Meteor to nuke their board. And You can say that I misplayed by setting the Rebirth. I just didn't know what strategy my opponent was on, or if they actually did play with a mirror match. So I just set these two as bluffs. These two cards should have stayed in my hand. This would have made a really big difference. And you'll see by the rest of the duels. So they set 2, they set a Torimar. We do it through Aiza Leon. We go release into Org. We activate the Org. They're not gonna respond to any of our cards because they know about the Aiza Leon. And if the Aiza Leon does resolve, we win the game. But yeah, they have Solar Luna and Book of Eclipse. We have Enneapolis. We grab back our skills. We do Rebirth. We just want to draw into more cards. We drew into 7 Tachyon and Fidger. We're using the Fossil to destroy. They're using 7 Tachyon. We grab Astapixia. We set the Astapixia. They drew into another Solar Luna. They grab Alazonea. They now have the advantage because we don't have our skills yet, but they do. They grab 3 here. They get the Field Spell to bounce both. And now they're just gonna set both. We know that one of the sets are Org and the other is Alazonea. So we're just going to try attack here. Those 2 cards that he set are the best 2 Enneacraft that you can set in the mirror. I'm surprised they did not flip Org to the response of my Aiza Leon, but I still give them the win because they are a lot more ahead than we are. So we make them go first. The reason we did that is because I was expecting Purulia since we did see Fualos last game. And well, we didn't actually see the Fualos being activated, but you know, I expected something like this to be played because of the mirror. The other reason we did let them go first is because I rather break their board than make my board. That is something that I learned when it comes to the mirror match. There are some nuances to it. And this card right here, that you see right here, the Soul Exchange, you already saw it from our deck list. This card is really good into the mirror match. There are so little cards that your opponent can do to stop this. Both Astapixia and Archetype cannot do anything about this card be resolving. So they pass turn, they let us go first, they activate the Pixia. We could have punished the Pixia by setting the Alazonea, but and we do say it right here in the chat. I did bring it up, but I digress. We activate the Alazonea, and we're going to reveal 3 Org. We're going to add the Org. We're going to Org effect. Org grab 3 Enneapolis. We're going to Enneapolis. We're going to grab those 2 back. We're going to Ock into Trom. We're going to place the Trom. And we already have Rebirth in hand. Can you guess what we're going to add with this Trom? What we're going to add with this Trom area is going to give us an edge in this mirror match. Can you guess what the card is? We're going to reveal Aiza Leon, Org, and Org. We're going to add another Org. So we're going to add the Reverth. We're going to shuffle 3. And we keep the Alazonea here. We drew into Purulia, as you guys saw. Like, we did blind second with the deck. And we already know that Purulia is actually kind of good against the mirror match. So we're going to activate the Org. That's going to drop them another one for Purulia. We're going to activate another Org. That's going to draw them again with the Purulia. And I don't mind giving them extra draws for Purulia for 2 reasons. Reason number 1, we have the Soul Exchange. So whatever they end up doing with their board, we can just like tribute some of their monsters with Soul Exchange, and that applies a lot of pressure already. The second reason that I didn't mind the Purulia draws is because this deck cannot OTK. Like, whatever they end up drawing, they need to commit to it. And if you see here, we have one Atorimar, one OrgIA, and one Alazonea. And we're going to set another Org. This is a normal set, we tell them, so they got to shuffle back. Well, they didn't have to shuffle, they only had to put back, but I digress. So we end on a double Org and one Alaz. These three cards set are going to do very good. It's going to do a lot for us in the mirror match, because the mirror match involves doing two things: adding cards and setting cards. The Org is going to contest to them activating their flip effects in order to like set their monsters, and unless they set Archetype, this Org will always get value when they respond with their Enneacrafts. The Alaz is going to respond to their scale effects when they're trying to add with their scales. And this is another card that's going to give us advantage. We're going to get at least 3 flips on their turn. So we place the Archetype. The Archetype being placed here does not really hurt us with the Soul Exchange, because we can just bounce it back with Enneapolis later on. So they activate release, they place release for Org, they activate Org, and we flip the Alaz. And that's going to grab us Reverth. The right correct add here should have been Izaleon, because they know we have Org set, because we set Org last turn. So by grabbing Izaleon, whenever they end up setting, we can use Rebirth to just set the Izaleon. And if they try to respond to our reactive effect to their effects, like for example with an Atorimar or with their own Izaleon, we can flip our Izaleon and just grab back everything and get more scale value. So they grab the Atori. So they we resolve Alaz, it banishes Astapixia. They are activating from hand. We are going to flip the Org. Org is going to add us the Izaleon, and then they set the Atorimar. So we do Org. So check this chain link, right? We're going to Org chain link 1, Rebirth chain link 2. This is a mandatory effect, so this will always be chain link 1. Which means the Rebirth, with its actual trigger effect that meets its trigger conditions, is going to be chain link 2. And the reason we do it this way is because that way they cannot flip the Atorimar to respond to the Org, because we are still resolving Rebirth to set the Izaleon. So Rebirth is going to set, and the Org is going to pop, and we get another counter on Archetype. Now they're going to activate Trom. We're going to flip the Org, and that's going to there's the release. We don't know if they actually set Trom. Which they didn't. They set the Org. So we're just going to flip the Org, and that's going to grab us release. And now we got a third counter on Archetype. So now they activate their own Enneapolis, they go grab back, they activate, they set, they activate, they grab the Archetype, they place, they set, they place, they set, they set. We're going to Enneapolis, burn them for 27, and now we're going to grab release. So we're going to Enneapolis, that's going to grab back everything that we have. We're going to activate release. Release is going to place the Trom. We're going to activate the Soul Exchange. This is a hard once per turn, but what the soul change is going to do for us is going to tribute to monsters. We're not sure where the Trom is, but the Trom is on the scale, so we know that none of these are Trom. That being said, we tribute the Org and they scoop it up. They know that Org was pivotal to the mirror. So now we're going to game 3, and they went first. They have Isa Leon, they have Lava Golem, they have Aslapic Seiya and Enneacraft. Not the best hand, but we were never stopping this, right? Our hand is Org, Sphere Mode, Archetype, Alazonea, and Soul Exchange. Soul Exchange is a really big deal, and Sphere Mode is also a really big deal. If they end up doing what they did last game, these are blowouts. And there's so little he can do about it. So he goes for Trom, he grabs triple release. They go release into Org. They go Org, grab Alaz. They're doing this because they already have Enneapolis in hand. They go Enneapolis, grab those two. They activate. They add. They activate. They go Trom. They say 5. So we're going to Sphere Mode. Tribute over those 3. We activate Soul Exchange. We tribute for Archetype. We grab Hair. And yeah, we're going to grab here. We're going to do this. We're going to Alaz. We draw here. We're going to do this. We're going to grab Asa Leon. Those 2. We're going to Rebirth. So this is an illegal activation. We cannot activate Soul Exchange here because this is hard once per turn. But they're going to scoop because this card is, again, this is just a blowout. They know that we'll have this for next turn. And like whatever they end up doing is not going to stop what we're going to do. Because we're going to have Org and Alazonea into rotation. That's going to like contest against what they're doing. And they need a lot in order to fill the board again with those 5 monsters. And them knowing that we have Soul Exchange for next turn is just going to be another blowout for their board. Like they lost a lot. They lost a Trom. They lost Org. They lost the Isa Leon. They lost these 2. Like, yeah. But that's basically what I wanted to show you. When it comes to the mirror match, these 2 cards are really important. I am playing something that gives me an edge in the mirror match, but anything very similar to that, like you see the Lava Golem here. As for his example, any of these can do. I prefer Wind Dragon because this just takes out more monsters, and this is just a lot easier to like do stuff with. You can make the argument for Lava Golem just burning them like for 1,000, and that being relevant with the burn effects that we do with our deck. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope you found this video informative to your liking and understanding. I just kind of want to show you how the mirror match looked like. This is a very tricky deck, and to this day, not a lot of people know how to handle it. So seeing a mirror match is just something even more strange. But yeah, that's it for our DB adventures for tonight or for today. Stay tuned for next time. Keep practicing and keep dueling.